This is the Peugeot 5008. It's a 7-seater crossover SUV from French automaker Peugeot. It sells for 2.2 million pesos. Is it worth your money? Let's find out. The 5008 is basically a 3008 that's been stretched out to accommodate third row seats. If you haven't seen my review of the 3008 yet, you can click on the link above. The 5008 has been facelifted for the 2022 model year. It gets a new frameless grille design with these sharp-looking chrome accents. And by sharp, I mean they're actually quite sharp. So at the center you get the Peugeot logo, which is a lion, and all over the car you get subtle hints alluding to its feline inspiration, like these DRLs over here which look like fangs, these horizontal slats right here which look like whiskers, and the taillights look like lion's claws. These headlights are adaptive LEDs, definitely useful when you're on twisty roads. Overall, I think at this price bracket, this is one of the most attractive, one of the most premium looking crossovers that you can buy. From the front and from the back, you can't tell the 5008 and the 3008 apart. But from this angle, it's very obvious. The 5008 is a lot longer than the 3008. So it's about 160 millimeters or 6.3 inches longer than the 3008. Its wheelbase is 110 millimeters longer. Even with that extra length though, it's not really a very big car. For comparison, the Geely Okavango is 165 millimeters longer. The ground clearance is 236 millimeters, which is more than most compact crossovers in the market. You get plenty of chrome here, but I think it's tastefully done. It gives the car a more luxurious look. Like the 3008, this also gets 18-inch wheels wrapped in Continental tires. The back looks identical to the 3008. You also get these smoked LED tail lamps. You get the Peugeot logo at the center. And you also get fake exhaust tips, which I'm not really a fan of. Like the 3008, this also gets a power liftgate, which you can also open using your foot. See? So like I said, this is a 7-seater, and with the third row seats up, you get about 200 liters of cargo space, which is more than enough to store a luggage bag and a couple of backpacks. If you fold the third row seats down, you get 950 liters of cargo space. And if you fold the second row seats down, you get more than 2,000 liters of cargo space. So that's almost the same cargo space as a Montero. The main difference between the 5008 and the 3008 are the third row seats. Like most crossovers and SUVs in this segment, they're meant for smaller adults and children. Bethel over here is 5'4". Let's see how she fits. The 5008 is priced at 2.2 million pesos, which I think is actually a pretty decent price for a 7-seater premium crossover. At that price, it doesn't have a lot of direct competition. The closest would be the base model CX-8, which I haven't driven yet, so I'll reserve my judgment until I do. Its pricing is sandwiched in between top-of-the-line 7-seater SUVs, like the FOrtuner LTD, and more affordable 7-seater crossovers, like the Okavango Urban Plus. Compared to PPVs, the 5008 has the advantage when it comes to ride quality and overall refinement. It's a much smoother driving experience. It also handles a lot better. Compared to the Okavango, I think the 5008 looks and feels more premium in a lot of ways, which we'll talk about later. The price difference between the Okavango and the 5008 is pretty significant, but I'll try to use it as a basis of comparison because one, it's one of the most popular 7-seater crossovers in the market, and two, because I think it would be interesting to see how much more crossover you can get for 700,000 pesos more. Okay, so this interior looks almost the same. Actually, it looks identical to the interior of the 3008. And like the 3008, this also looks very quirky. Case in point, the steering wheel. You've seen steering wheels with a flat bottom, but you don't see a lot with a flat top as well. It's also very small, as you can see. And you don't look through it to see the instrument cluster. Instead, you look above it. I like this setup because no matter which position your steering wheel is at, you can always see the instrument cluster. One more quirk is this denim-like fabric over here. Now, I don't think I've seen denim used as an interior accent before, so that is definitely different. Another quirk is that it comes with an eyewear holder, but unlike on most cars, you won't find it here. Instead, it's way over there where the passenger sitting here won't be able to reach it. Now, that is no subtle hint that this is a very driver-centric interior. All these buttons over here, the infotainment screen, the air vents, they're all angled towards the driver. This high center console and these switches over here make you feel like you're in a jet plane's cockpit. It looks and feels like it wraps around the driver. Another quirk, which you'll find at the third row, is this. The seatbelt holder is magnetized, so it doesn't flop around and make noise. It also doubles as a coin holder.
You can put spare coins here.
Yeah, so I think it not only looks nice, it also looks very different. Compared to the interior of the Okavango, I think they both look nice visually. But in terms of materials, I think this is a step higher. On the Okavango, you get a lot of hard plastics, especially on the dashboard and the door sidings. In here, almost everything that you can touch is made of soft touch materials. Like this is soft touch right here. This is soft touch. This is soft touch. Leather wrap. The only hard plastics are down here. By the way, one way of knowing that you're in a premium vehicle is this. So the door sounds and feels heavy. It feels like you're closing a bank vault. And that usually means that it has plenty of sound deadening material inside. And the sheet metal isn't as thin. Like the Okavango, this also gets a panoramic sunroof. It gets a large digital instrument cluster. It gets this large 10.4-inch infotainment screen. It gets an electronic shifter. It also gets a top-down camera. But unlike on the Okavango, you don't get cameras all around the car. You just get one at the back. And this has a very unusual way of displaying a top-down camera. What it does is, as you're reversing, the rear camera paints a top-down image of your immediate surroundings. And this is what it looks like. Now, it's not as fancy as the 360 camera of the Okavango, but I think it works. Unlike the Okavango though, this gets a wireless phone charger. So it has a cooler here for cooling your drinks. This gets a power adjustable passenger seat, and the driver's seat gets more adjustments. This is a 10-way adjustable driver's seat if I'm not mistaken. Whatever shape you may be, you can probably find an ideal setting for you. And what I really like about the driver's seat is the lumbar support. At its maximum setting, it is very aggressive. As you can see, this is very bulgy right here. This is really helpful in reducing back pain when you're doing long drives. By the way, this interior looks even better at night because you get ambient lighting all over the car. If I had to nitpick, I wish it came with physical knobs or buttons for the fan control and the temperature control, because you have to go through the menus to adjust the temperature and the fan speed. Number two, I wish it came with at least one more USB port here at the front, because you only have one USB port and one 12-volt outlet. Aside from that, I don't really have complaints. I find this interior very good for the price. Okay, so here at the second row, space is not a problem. Legroom is adequate. Headroom is okay. Although, like I said in my 3008 review, the panoramic sunroof does eat a bit of headroom. But I think it's worth it. It gives the cabin a more airy feel. So down here you get a foldable armrest. You get two cup holders. And you have a slot here where you can put your phone. Down here you get two aircon vents, one USB port, and you get aircon controls over here. By the way, the second row seat can be moved forward and back, like so. And you can also recline the seat, like so. By the way, the flooring is completely flat. You don't have a center tunnel. By the way, the flooring is completely flat. You don't have a center tunnel, which should be a good thing. Unfortunately, this center console over here kind of intrudes a bit into the space of the second row passenger. So driving the 5008, you immediately feel like you're in a premium vehicle. It's very smooth, it's very quiet. Sabi ni Bethel, para daw airplane. It's almost like you're gliding over the road surface. It also attracts a lot of attention. Like, there was one guy who said, "Sir, ganda ng kotse niyo." That was right before he gave me a warning for a traffic violation. Anyway, you have two driving modes in the Peugeot 5008. So we're currently in normal mode. And in normal mode, it feels like everything is feathered. All your inputs are feathered. So it never feels jerky even if you have a heavy foot. But if you put it in sport mode, it suddenly becomes a lot more responsive. It becomes a lot more sensitive. And if you pair that with the 5008 steering, which is very sensitive, and a small steering wheel, it actually is a bit of fun to drive. Okay, so the 5008 has paddle shifters. Shifting is pretty quick. Downshift. Downshift. It actually sounds pretty good. I mean, when you're driving it normally, it's very quiet, but I'm not sure if it sounds louder in normal mode, in sport mode, but it really opens up once you're over 2000 RPM. The Peugeot 5008 comes with adaptive headlights. So I'll show you how it works. As you can see, it's very dark over there. But when I turn the wheel, okay, so when I turn the wheel, as you can see, it illuminates the path where I'm going. Both the Okavango and the 5008 have pretty good NVH levels. I'd say the 4-cylinder engine of the 5008 feels just a bit smoother than the 3-cylinder engine of the Okavango. The Okavango has more power in total, but it's bigger and heavier, so it's not much quicker than the 5008. Both can do 0 to 100 kph in about 9.3 seconds. The 5008's smaller size, its lighter weight, its paddle shifters, and its quicker steering ratio make it feel more sporty. The turning radius of the 5008 is also a lot better. In terms of fuel economy, despite the Okavango being a mild hybrid, their fuel economies are very similar. I got an average of 15.6 kpl on the highway, with an average speed of 60 kph, and 8.8 kpl in the city, with an average speed of 28 kph. Those numbers are very similar to the Okavango's estimated fuel economy. So to summarize, I think the 5008 has a much nicer exterior, a nicer interior, a few more features, and something that's not so easily quantifiable: exclusivity. Some people want things that are not very common or not as easily attainable. It's the reason why people buy expensive bags, even if a 300 peso bag will do the exact same job. Living with a 5008 for almost a week, I got the feeling that I was driving something that was different. Something that was exclusive. People asked about it, they looked at it with curiosity, and that's something that some people are willing to pay extra for. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.